Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, this is a video to answer a good question from a viewer named Thomas, who's basically asking if it's better to spend at one authorized dealer, a multi-brand authorized dealer, perhaps to try to get that one Rolex that you want. And he's considering buying a Cartier Santos, and he's wondering if it's better to go pay full retail at multi-brand AD in order to get the Explorer or the Submariner that he's on the wait list for. And he's asking me, looking back, do I regret not spending all my money at the same place? Because he noticed I tend to shop around, for value. And it's funny because I was just about to record a video, well, I had recorded it, about Rolex and luxury. You know, as Captain Danny in the RolexMagazine.com reminded us, the Henry Heiniger, the CEO of 30 years, from the 60s to the 90s of Rolex, famously said that he's not in the business of watches, he's in the business of luxury. When you buy a Rolex, you want that cachet, that watch that people know, recognize. You know, Rolex is everywhere, sponsors the big events. It's a sign of luxury. Now, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would have never gone to a Rolex shop, and I think many of you feel the same. And now it's like we can all afford it, maybe. And I see it on the wrist of all the housewives of Hong Kong who want to show off to their friends. And demand is such that you can't get the watches at the authorized dealers who are controlling the flow. It doesn't help that many watches are probably going straight to China at the moment, which is a huge market. So authorized dealers don't have much stock and have to be very selective. And as Rolex reminded us not long ago, it's the authorized dealers that control how the watches are sold. Now, 10 years ago, you wouldn't go to see those authorized dealers, and if the market was changing and all the watches were available, you probably wouldn't go either. So they have to manage their customers. They have to prioritize the people who have been supporting their shop for a long time, spent a lot of money. And most importantly, if you want to get that Rolex, the sign of luxury is not to be able to pay $10,000 for a Pepsi, and that's why Rolex doesn't increase their prices. They don't care about that. They're selling a portfolio of watches. They want you to buy what's there in the store and buy enough until one day you get offered that Submariner, that Skydweller, that GMT Master 2, which is the sign of luxury, is being offered that watch. Now, to go back to the question of Thomas. In my case, I could have never built an interesting collection of watches of different brands, different eras, some with box and papers, some not, but some interesting things, some watches that are out of production. If I had spent all my money at the same multi-brand AD, and all my money that I've spent in watches is maybe $1 million Hong Kong dollar, it's nothing compared to what some people spend there. I mean, we're talking about Hong Kong heavy hitters. For them, they spend that kind of money in one watch, and still they can't get that Pepsi. So it would not have made a difference. So for me, I bought where I could find the watches, whether it's a second-hand shop or different ADs, where I could find them. Because, I still got 4 Rolex from authorized dealers, 4 or 5 actually, before they went extinct. So I had to buy them where I could find them, and most importantly, I wanted to build an interesting collection. Now, I have built up a bit of a relationship in a store that sells Zenith and Rolex. I bought a couple of Zenith. He gave me a great price on one of them that is very sought after now. So, sort of a thank you from my part, because it's a two-way street. I bought my wife's very expensive Datejust over there, and hopefully the pendulum will swing back in my favor and I will get offered something. But to be honest, the best you can expect is that they will offer you to buy the Rolex you want at the market price. So you get it from the AD, but you have to pay anyway the market price. So in the end, if you want that Explorer or that Submariner, you know, yeah, you can talk to the guy, say, okay, if I buy the Cartier there, and by the way, the Cartier that you're talking about, the Santos, it's a very cool watch, which in a way is more interesting than a Rolex, and it is the original wristwatch. After all, it could be your only watch. So I don't know why you have to obsess about Rolex all that much. Of course, I love the Submariner, I love the Explorer, the watches that you want. But if you're getting a Cartier, isn't that even better? But anyway, you were saying that you see a discounted Cartier like new $700 cheaper than retail. That's not a big discount for a Cartier. So honestly, you might as well buy it there at the authorized dealer. And I know it's unbecoming to beg, but just remind him you're on the list for the Explorer. People are getting their Explorers pretty easily these days. Just give him a little nudge as politely as possible that it would be great if you could get it for your birthday or whatever milestone, and maybe you buying the Cartier will endear him, and most importantly, you want to be in their mind. You want to stop by once in a while, look at the watches, talk about the market, things like that. You don't have to really suck up to them, but don't have to bring them cookies. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a good relationship with a multi-brand authorized dealers. Having said that, what hurts even less is to go and build your collection with one second-hand dealer that you can trust. For example, here in Hong Kong, I've been a few times to Ken Watches, and you buy a couple of watches, the guy recognizes you, and next time you go there to trade a watch, get another one, he'll give you probably a better deal, 5-10% better than he would to somebody else. And sometimes if you can buy from him a watch that is hard to sell for him, a GLC or an Omega or a WC that you wanted anyway in your collection because you wanted a pilot watch or something, he'll be quite grateful. So maybe he'll get you a slightly better price on the Rolex, because at the end of the day, if you want one of the Rolex and your AD is not cooperative, you might as well just pay the market price, because that is the market now, the market of luxury for Rolex. Either you buy a bunch of things at the authorized dealer to get the watch and you lose anyway, and that is the luxury to get your watch at the authorized dealer, or you pay up, and that is the luxury as well, is to be able to pay up. So when all the watches are available, the luxury is to go and buy them and to wear that watch. When they're not available, luxury is to be able to get them, and if you can't get them at the dealer, authorized dealer, then you pay the price. And but that's just an easy way to do it. And for example, you want an Explorer, well, just go buy it now. If that's really what you want, then don't buy the Cartier. Pay the market price for the Explorer, which by the way I think is stupid. It just came out, the new one, the 36. They're gonna do it for 10 years, so I don't think I would do that. Eventually, they'll be everywhere and easy to get, probably. But it's a really basic entry model, as nice as it is. But really, if you want it now, go buy it, pay the premium, and stay on the list at as many authorized dealers as you can. And if you get it, hopefully not too long, hopefully there will still be a premium, sell one of them, get some premium back, and at least you will have the watch you really want without waiting. Same thing for the Submariner. I think the premiums are not crazy on those. I'll say one thing though about all of this is that I think people are understanding more and more that brands are coming up with new stuff all the time, because they're there to create stuff and to sell things. And as big as the demand is, I can feel already that some novelties like the independent micro brand watches are not fetching the premiums on the second-hand market anymore, because people see that every 6 months, even less sometimes. They come up with a different dial color or something else, another limited edition of this that people run to get. You know, the other day Longines did a partnership with Hodinky, but the next day they hadn't sold out yet. Because people think twice, okay, am I going to pay 2,500 for this Longines, which looks like the same as they've done before without being a limited edition, and they'll probably make another one next year. Is Hodinky still as hot? At least cooperation with Longines, is it that hot? It's a cool watch, it's a nice watch, but if you can get almost the same thing, and it's a Longines, you know, it's not a vintage Patek, okay? If you can get almost the same thing for 1,500, you know, maybe I think people are starting to slow down a bit, think twice, and I would apply that to Rolex as well. There's no scarcity; they're everywhere. You just have to pay to get that luxury. So they're there, and at some point the pendulum will swing, and maybe people will want a new model from GLC or something from Omega. Will strike the perfect balance, and the market for Rolex will cool down. We'll see how it goes. But there you go. Those are my thoughts. Luxury has a price. And as you mentioned in one of your emails, Thomas, Rolex at the moment is indeed a Veblen good. You might have heard, you guys, this term Veblen good. It's a good a luxury good that gets more attractive the more expensive it gets, and that is what luxury is. People want something that other people can't have or can't afford, and so the more expensive it is, the more attractive it is to people with high disposable income. And it's not bad to have a good relationship with one authorized dealer, with one a multi-brand authorized dealer, and with one good reputable dealer. And you know, if you can find what you want there, it's great. But the pleasure of collecting is really about searching around for those special watches, to build up a collection that doesn't cost a fortune, and that you can't really do always at the same place. You gotta shop around, and I don't regret, to answer your question, I don't regret at all spending the way I did, because it was always a great adventure, always a great pleasure, and it got me to get the right prices and to find watches that were sometimes a bit more unusual. Because as much as I love my Rolex, they're incredibly common, and you know, you're not gonna feel that special if you get your Submariner, even if it's the perfect watch. If it's, you know, when I'm home, when I'm at my office with my Sea Dweller or my Datejust, I feel incredibly happy. But out and about, it is very common, and actually I don't like the attention personally. I don't like that people recognize what I'm wearing. I get a much much bigger kick wearing an unusual GLC or a fine Patek that, you know, to the untrained eye looks like a Daniel Wellington, but to a fine watch connoisseurs, you know, makes him give you the wink, you know, and that's gonna make your day. So there you go, everything packed into one little monologue here. I hope, Thomas, it gives you food for thought. All the best in your purchases, and as I said, the Cartier Santos is the OG, is the original wristwatch, and the current one, the large size, I think it's a beautiful watch. I even like it in two-tone, by the way. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.